a new wild side. Well, not new, but recently new. We've been here before. I usually spend winters here. And I just got my cabin moved, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's so peaceful out here. Hey, Daryl, you made it. Glad I messaged you. Are Sundays better for you, or do you just not get the notifications on Saturdays? Anyway, this is where we are. My side of the mountain. And I'm setting up some coffee and biscuits. And it's really peaceful out here. Usually I listen to YouTube videos, but today I was just enjoying the peace and quiet, because it's one of those places where it gets dead silent. I forget how we term that, like you can hear yourself think, that kind of thing. I don't know if that's usually, but one of those places where it's just dead silent. I thought I heard I'm at the end of the road. I thought I heard a vehicle. Well, I did hear a vehicle, and so I went up to see who might be coming down my road, and I've fallen for this before, where they're actually about a mile away. There's a road that people use to get out, and so I think they were way over there. Meanwhile, it sounded like they were coming right for my place. So, trying to figure out how to cook biscuits. That's flipped. So that's the underside. And that's really not bad, especially for me, because I don't mind burnt. That's the top side. So I'm trying to figure out how to bake them where I don't have to flip it. And I had it inside. It's a mystery. So biscuits, when doing them in a normal oven, they take about 15 minutes at 450 degrees or 475 degrees, whatever your preference. So I put them in the wood stove, thinking, okay, maybe it'll take 15 minutes like normal. As you would think, inside of that wood stove is well above 500 degrees. The other day it took an hour, and today it took, well, I'm still technically cooking it. I don't know how well done it is on the inside. So anyway, it drives me bonkers. It drives me wacko. All right, so I'm gonna sit down and have some coffee and forget about my biscuit making woes for a minute. But I'll figure it out. Today I put those bricks. So I use bricks in the wood stove to hold up a grate, and I cook on that because my wood stove is too tall for doggone it, hang on. It's too tall to cook on top of very effectively. Like, it takes forever to heat anything up when cooking on top of the wood stove. It's okay for like an all-day stew. Like, I'll get it boiling quick in the wood stove or on the propane burner and then put it on top. But it's got to be cold out to keep a fire going all day long. As you can see, I'm already in my t-shirt. I'm sweating. You'd think it'd be cold enough that I'd... But anyway, so that's what I'm dealing with, trying to figure all that out. And, oh yeah, so I took those bricks that I kept inside, because they get really hot, and they retain heat well. So I put those... as you saw, I put the biscuit on top of the wood stove, and then the bricks, the hot bricks on top, and seemed to do the trick. So that's something I've been wanting to try, is basically put my brick oven up on top of the wood stove and then slide whatever I'm baking inside of it. So that's exciting. Hopefully that kind of thing is on the rise. All right, thanks guys for the comments. You can hear me, I appreciate that. Morning, Royce and Jennifer, glad you guys made it. It's Sunday, so it's a little different. Megan, thank you. Yes, it's good to be back home. This is what I really consider home. It's just that the summer is so dang hot. But I don't know, maybe next summer I'll finally stay here. I've stayed at a property around here all summer, but man, it's miserable. That's why my other property is so nice to hang out by the creek in the shade, but I'd like to use this cabin this year. Actually, I plan on doing a lot of video editing, and so this year I'm actually going to try running an AC on my solar setup. So I'm going to go a little bit modern, because I just get sick of sitting around in the heat waiting for it to be over and wasting all that time. And so with an air conditioner, I can hide out in here and be productive. So that's my goal. Yeah, Jennifer says, my personal experience at Dutch oven work very well to make biscuits in. Yeah, Dutch oven's great if you got the right heat for on top of it. Most people who cook with Dutch ovens use briquettes, charcoal briquettes, which hold heat for, I don't know, 45 minutes. But I'm not using briquettes. I'm trying to use firewood and cook, you know, the way they would have in the pioneer days. And of course then I'm using a brick. So I don't know. Don't try to be too logical about my ways. I do the ways that I find acceptable. I don't want to use charcoal briquettes basically. And as I always say over and over, I don't have good coals. Like if we had oak, then I'd just use oak and problem solved. But I tried cooking over coals in the wood stove, and like I said, biscuits should be done in 15 minutes. Well, after 15 minutes, they dwindled down and cooled off. So then I started a fire, added sticks to add fire, and then you risk it being too hot. And so I'm just chasing the coals the whole time. And that's for breakfast, because breakfast, you know, I just wake up and I start a fire and cook breakfast. If I was cooking in the evening over coals, different story. Then I could build up a big enough bed to maybe have coals for cooking. But anyway, I'll probably do this brick oven thing on top of the wood stove, especially since it worked pretty well just now. I'm gonna go get them. They're still on the oven, staying warm, while I make coffee here with my AeroPress and heavy whipping cream. On the Frontier, they had a lot of milk and cream and butter, which is why it was so much dang work. I had a milk cow. Once you got a milk cow, you got to milk it twice a day, and then you got to make butter before the milk goes bad. You got to have a cellar so it doesn't go bad too fast and then drink the buttermilk. So that's basically how they operated with milk. But as you can see, it demands a lot of attention. All right, now I can relax. Outdoor videos of bread. I've only tried to make biscuits on a fire once in hot coals, but it was taking a while. So I started a fire and it burned some. Yeah, it's not easy getting the temperatures correct. So we had the same experience with burning biscuits. Yeah. Now, if you guys, those of you who've been watching my videos for a long time, normally the way I cook it is, and I can cook it over a fire, but I flip it halfway through. So I just make one big biscuit bread is what I call it, and I flip it and it works great. I'm just trying to figure out a method to cook it where I don't have to flip it, because then once I do that, then I can make pies and whatever bread, yeast bread. Broad skilling. Good morning, Rich. I headed to the woods Tuesday for 5 days. Oh, freaking cool. Yeah. What do you mind saying which state you're doing that in? Or should I know? Hey, Craig. God bless Texas. Jennifer Harden. I turned 40 on the 11th, and I feel it. I had no idea you guys were, either of you were that old. Wouldn't have guessed it. Well, I'm older than that, and I still feel young. Although in the last few years I have slowed down a little bit. People told me when I was in my 20s, people often say, oh yeah, you slow down a lot when you're in your 30s. Not for me. I still got way too much energy. But then I live alone, so it gets muted. Anyway, for those of you who just came on, I'm out at my other property, which is out in the wilderness. I call it my desert property, and it's incredibly peaceful. If I quit talking, I can hear an airplane, unfortunately. It's cloudy enough I can't see it, but any noises, you pick them up so well out here. Elk come through here. There's already been elk on my property this year. A neighbor said, not a neighbor for this property, a neighbor for the other property, he was out here and he saw deer and coyotes. I see elk more than I see deer out here, so that was kind of exciting. To know that there's deer out here regularly. I mean, I've seen them before years ago, but it's pretty dang rare. Okay, now so that's how it looks. For me, that's not burned very bad. First of all, I like my stuff well done, but as you can see from this side, there's actually brown around it. So that's not too bad. I'd rather it wasn't black, but I like it dark. All right, let's see if it's cooked in the middle. Now that's the deceiving part. And then I got some butter and honey to put on it. Oh, here we go. All right, let's cut this bad boy open and see what we got. Hey, all right, it's cooked. I mean, it's a little bit damp in there, and it should be, but it's not gummy. So I got this tin recently for historical camping, so I can take butter with me. However, it's not waterproof. Why would that matter? Well, because if it gets too warm, it leaks. Melted butter. I came home to melted butter the other day. Melted all over the floor and on my tea cart. Hey, there's Jeremiah. Never made bread in a Dutch oven before. That looks good. Yeah, it's really rewarding using a Dutch oven. I learned it when I was a teenager, like 16. I did the rendezvous. Uh-oh. My honey is gone. I did the Mountain Man rendezvous back then, which were full of bad information. And I don't know that they even made biscuits. They had bannock bread, and I think that was the precursor to pancakes. They made bread without yeast or leaven of any kind. Baking powder didn't exist. And they'd cook it in a frying pan. And some people who like to fight about white people and Indians like to say that we stole the bannock bread. But since we were the ones who provided sheet iron pans to cook it on and the flour to use, it was developed. My theory is it was developed during the fur trade. Is when you got animal fat and you got flour and water. Well, it's a pretty handy way to cook it is to fry it. Mix a little batter up and fry it. Really hard to eat it with a mustache, though. Brad said you're a free and free spirit, and yeah, being alone like me, you could have to keep moving. There's no one else to look after you. My old boss always called me a free spirit. Yeah, you're definitely a free spirit, my friend. And so right over there is my old cabin, which needs a lot of remodeling. I've lived in it in the past, but but the roof isn't insulated. And then the mice and rats just took over like when I moved away. So it stinks to high heaven. It almost feels toxic being in it. All right, no more eating while doing the live video. So my lumber's a mess, but there's the cabin. So I need to remodel it, insulate it really well. Y'all have seen the cabin before. I've lived in it quite a bit. It's nice to have the space in the wintertime, but I don't want to burn so much firewood to keep it warm. Nor do I feel like remodeling it right now. I gotta tear the ceiling down, and that's gonna be disgusting. Through here, I groomed this area a little bit where I cut out a lot of the sagebrush. Can't really tell. It looks better in real life. And then down here is my well. This is an artesian well. That means the water flows without a pump. So it looks like a trickle, and it is, but it's steady. And I think I get about 5 gallons per hour. So when you add it up, it's pretty useful. I don't know how far I can go and still get my Starlink service out here. But anyway, this is the lay of the land. It's all pretty hilly, but that's okay. It's a lot of seclusion. And then down there is my cellar. I need to get that finished as a cellar so I can keep stuff. And that'll be instrumental for being able to stay here through the winter. Summer, through the summer. That's the challenge. Here's a beer bottle. Before I owned this place, people used to come up here and hang out. And so, beer bottles. Must have cleaned up the place. So anyway, that's the land. And I can see for miles and miles. I like to look out there and imagine the old cowboy route, because that's one of the routes that they would drive cattle out of the valley. We had a major cattle industry here. The biggest industry, obviously, was the Texas cattle drives, but not a lot of people realize how much we did out here in Washington. And that, like I said, that was one of the routes. Yes, Jeremiah, that artesian well is why I bought it. Yeah, because there's no water out here. I mean, some people, if you put in a house, like a normal modern house, then you can get a permit to dig a well. Otherwise, the county doesn't allow any wells to be done. So to have one out here that doesn't even need solar power or a pump to pump it, I'm thrilled. I am just so glad this property worked out. And the timing was great because I was able to sell a piece of land, and the guy gave me a down payment, and I told him I needed enough to buy this property. And so that's how I was able to buy it. Craig says, dogs make the trip. Yes, they do. Hey, Mad Dog. She always sits on the porch. Whatever we've got, she likes to sit and look. I love that. She always does that wherever we are. Jeremiah says, I've taken sourdough, which was meant for baking in an oven, and fried it on a skillet. Oh, cool. Yeah. Yeah, if you make it thin enough and flip it. Yeah. Brad says, that looks great. It's been a while. I don't think I've seen how big it is. I just remember the little square shack. That is cool. It's crazy how much a well is. Yeah, having the water is huge. So I might even, I've got some tanks, small, different size tanks. And I want to set one up so I can have a hot shower. And then I want to get I don't know if galvanized is a good idea. I think people use them, but get a trough, metal trough, so I can burn a fire underneath it and get it hot and have a hot bath out here and enjoy the view. So that's a few things I'm trying to do to make my life a little less wild and a little more comfortable. Every year it's different. Keep trying new things. Like I always say, I wish that the first year, I wish I would have just got rid of. Thought I just heard a dog bark. I wish I would have just got rid of all my junk, everything I owned, and then just bought the necessities. Yeah, I think that's a dog. Huh. Maybe I'll hear it again. I'm going to talk a little quieter. How dare you, Daryl? How dare you accuse me of that? No, that poor rooster, I really miss him. I really wish he was around. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Brad. It gives off bad fumes, so I guess I better look into that. Of course, if I don't burn underneath it, if I just put hot water in, then it should be fine for that. Yeah, I forgot about that. Then I'll have to just run the water. I've got a wood stove where a friend and I made one of those steam operated wood stove hot tubs once. It didn't have the flow that he wanted. Mostly my friend built it, I paid for it. And so he got a little, really tiny water pump, like the size like a fuel pump for a vehicle, and used that to pump it, and it worked great. Anyway, I still got the wood stove with the copper coils in it, and so maybe I'll use that, put that here, and then have the water flow down. Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, I thought about a cast iron tub, but it's too small. I want something bigger, so it feels a little more like a hot tub. Bobby Q, is this the property with the cowboy campsite? Um, it was the other property where I had my camp set up recently, right by the creek. And that was my other one. I took that down and brought it over here. I've done cowboy camps here on this property and off of the property. So I've got videos from here, but yeah, not. I plan to set my cowboy camp back up, probably right down there. There's kind of a flat spot down there, and then I can keep tweaking it and sleep out there when I finally decide to give up my comforts. Jeremiah says the water inside the tub will keep the surface temperature down if heating over a fire so it doesn't fume. Oh, well, yeah, that's true. What about the exterior though, where it hits the surface of the tub? Either way, I mean, I don't think I really need to do it that way. And I kind of think I like the other way better, like I said, where I have a wood stove with the coil copper, because that way I can have an on and off spout and have a tank above it so that the water is flowing constantly and I can add hot water when I want it. Craig, where's the Wild West town you used to get coffee? You mean the town where we used to go and do the reenacting and where my brother was running the saloon? That's called Shaniko, Oregon, down in Central Oregon. We don't go there anymore. I don't miss it. It was amazing when we were kids, but then when you're older, you realize all the drama that people like to, that all the adults can't get along. They all got egos and desires, and very few of them care about the history of the town. And it's the same in almost all the old towns. Same with Tombstone. As much as I love the history of Tombstone, I don't really care to go there. Look at all the trinket shops ruining what could otherwise be a really cool town. Brad, I like cooking with aluminum. It's safe if you have contents in the pan, but just letting it fire. Oh, yeah, good point. Daryl asks if there's a livestock auction site here. Yes, I've even done a video when I went to it. The livestock site auction is a pretty big one. It's in the town of Toppenish, which is down on the reservation. And then also about an hour and a half away, there's a horse. Well, they do other stuff, but they do a lot of horses. I've been tempted to drive up there on Wednesday just to see what horses they got. I'd like to get another horse, or I'd like to get rid of my horses, because it just sucks with my mare always having problems, so I can't ride her. And So it's tempting to just sell her and get a side-by-side. And then I can take off whenever I want and take the dogs with me. I don't know. And get goats. Somebody I know got rid of his horses and he just has pack goats. And goats are amazing because obvious reasons, but also for packing, you don't have to lead them. You don't have to worry about them running off at night because they stay right with you. And because I camp so minimal, 2 goats would easily carry what I weight. I don't know the weights on goats. I'm thinking llamas, but 3 or 4 goats would definitely be able to carry the weight that I need. Cheap res horses. Yeah, it's tempting to get a res horse. I believe I could get one for $500 for a gelding, but I don't know that I want to go through having to train it myself. Also, it's kind of a mystery as to how sound it would be. I'd rather find one that I know is sound and rideable. How much for Comanche Moon? Well, the thing about Comanche Moon is she's very high strung and needs a lot of desensitizing. You can pack on her, but like I went through, I was putting my modern camp pack on her, all my modern camping equipment on her, and I tied my roll-up sleeping pad on her back. I was using a saddle with a couple bags that go over the saddle, and she flipped out over that thing. Even though I could pack her, and I'd been packing her with stuff in the sides, but as soon as I did something different and put it up on her back, she lost her mind. So I had to work with her for, I think I did about a week with her with that. And I think she did pretty good. I don't know, I haven't tied it to her again because I don't want her to ruin my saddle. She went off on a bucking spree. Fortunately, I had her in the pen, as I had her outside the pen and walked her to the pen, and she actually didn't flip out yet, but then it got to be too much. So anyway, that's what she is. And the problem is there's different kinds of horses. Some horses, they can do okay getting moved around. They can make new friends. But this poor girl, she got really attached to me when I first had her. And then I sent her and 2 or 3 horses back to her old home to eat down his pasture. And she was with some of the horses, but they were only there for like a month or 2. I think a month and a half. And then when I got her back, it's never been the same. Like, she used to come and put her face in my arm and just love hanging out with me. And after I did that to her, I think it hurt her in some way, where we had bonded and then I sent her away essentially in her mind. And so we're close again. She likes me petting her, but we're not like we were when I first got her. And so she's a special horse. I don't want to really break her up. I broke up her friend group and to the point where she's only got the one friend left from our original group and me. And so that's the main reason. I don't want to do that to her. Namnumkin is kind of similar, not as affectionate. She's never been as affectionate, but I think she bonds. Because when I sent them to my friend's place to get trained, they remembered me, and like I would go over there and they knew who I was. I would stop on the road because he lives by the road. I'd stop my truck and they'd recognize the noise and they'd walk toward me, and I'd holler to him. I do that to Barley Mash. He was one of my horses that I sold to my friend, and he's out there too, and he recognizes the noises and looks up, but he's never shown any kind of inclination that, oh hey, you're that guy I bonded with. Even though he and he's a really sociable horse, and great horse, but he doesn't show any anything like toward me. I've gone on rides with him. I didn't ride him, but I've been on rides with him and nothing. But these two mares of mine, they, you know, they know they're mine. And so that's the main reason it's really difficult to sell them, because I don't want to do that to them, especially Comanche Moon. Daryl says, I need to keep her. I might have to eat her this winter. Yeah, I'm not that far. Even if I get, even if I get stranded out here in the snow with 3 feet of snow, as we've had before, and I couldn't get out, it's not too far to walk. And then there's other people that live out in other areas. So we have an elk gate. You come through the elk gate, and there's other people, and there's some people that plow the main gravel road. I don't live on the main gravel road. I live off of it. And there's people who plow it. So once I get down there, I can have somebody come pick me up. Or if I park my truck down there, or if I use chains. But one year I couldn't get out with chains. It was so bad because we had a lot of snow and we had wind, so we had deep drifts, and I got stuck in the drift. Somebody came with a Toyota and got me out. Hey, Daryl Widowick, I think that's how it is. Anaheim Lake, BC. Would like joining in? Yeah, glad you made it. There's bears in Arizona. Be careful. I'm not in Arizona, Daryl. I'm up in Washington State. And we got bears here too. I think I've seen sign of a bear once. Oh, and I saw leftover parts of a bear. So I don't know if somebody came up here and shot a bear or not. Dying to know. But I don't know. I don't know. I found the parts, found most of the hide. This is the baking contraption I used today. So the 2 biscuits on top, they were in the wood stove and extremely hot. And so they went on top, and they did the trick. They managed to bake the bread. Eventually I flipped it anyway. All right, it's getting cold, so came in to add more wood to the fire and get a jacket. Maybe make some more coffee or tea. Fortunately, I got a nice supply of firewood here. And not only do I have firewood, out here I got a ton of fire starter. So it's never going to be difficult to get a fire going in the morning. Because even if it rains, the stuff dries out so fast. And I got such an abundance of it. I'll show you. This is where I'm looking forward to taking out more sagebrush around here to open up more useful area. And I've been piling it right here. So that's a big old pile of sagebrush that I cut out from in here. And you can't tell in the video. I've taken pictures to try to depict it, but it just looks the same in the video. But this has actually been thinned out quite a bit, and then cut up around the bottom of the sagebrush, so that way it still casts shade in the summertime, and but you can get around it. I was thinking for the horses, but it would take an awful lot to create grazing for the horses. So instead, what I'll probably do out here, I don't think I'll let them both loose, because then they just wander too far, but I'll let one out at a time so they can graze while the other one's pinned up. And then I don't have to buy hay. And then I bring the other one back, let the other one graze. So Craig asks, yeah, no trees, but you find truckload of wood. Yes. Yeah, that's the problem with living in the desert, but that's why I like Yakima, because we're pretty close to the mountains. Like, you guys have seen my videos in the mountains. That's not very far away. And actually from here, it's not too far, but there's no roads. So you got to go out and around. But so a lot of people go to the woods and cut firewood, get Douglas fir, red fir, which is pretty good firewood. It's not the best, but it's pretty good. Or in town, because, 100 years ago, 150 years ago, they were all planting trees. Well, 130 years ago and on. And so people go through and, cut down the trees. And in fact, now that I've moved, maybe I'll contact, there's a guy, he helped me get a lot of maple, and then something else. Maybe it was maple too. So I get a lot of maple that way. Maple's a really good firewood. But I got mulberry, ash, elm. Elm isn't very desirable by most, but I really like it because it burns hot, it burns slow, and it creates a lot of coals. But it also creates a ton of ash. You got to dig out ash almost every day. Yeah, Stan in New York says met bears in the wild a few times. They've always gone away from me. Yeah, me too. The only times I've seen bears, I haven't seen them often, but they're always going away. I need to go to a Mormon church and get me a woman. Yeah, but then I'm marrying the Mormon church. Outdoor videos with Brad. I ran into a mama bear a couple weeks ago in the mountains. Oh, wow. She bolted down the hill so fast, and I had no choice but to follow down because I was heading back home. A mama bear? You mean so she had cubs with her? Did she abandon her cubs? More details there, amigo. Yeah, so I've got a lot of firewood that I get during the summer from people cutting down trees, and then I gotta split it, and it's a pretty good deal. But they usually even cut it up into the right lengths, so that's nice. Don't have to cut it into kindling around here, like I say, because of all the fire starter that I got. Oh, and I got to build the roof. I've only got a temporary roof, uninsulated right now. I need the rain to hold off so I can build the roof and insulate, and then finally have this thing finished. But as you can see in the video, those clouds are kind of threatening. They're actually darker in the video than in real life. No, I can't see any neighbors except all the way into town. I can see town city lights at night, which I wanted at first when I moved out here. I wanted to be able to look over the city, but now I almost wouldn't mind if I was out where I couldn't see the city at all. It ain't bad. I had a friend who lived on the other side of the city, like way out there, out in the country on the other side. And I told her, I think I gave her a spotlight to use. I told her, here, flash this spotlight. Let's see if we can see each other. And sure enough, I could see it. It was pretty wild. But I guess that doesn't make, I guess when you really think about it. Okay, the rest of the story here, the bear story. Yeah, Brad says, yeah, I ran downhill and hid in the bushes because I could hear rustling around in the bushes. And a little cub came out and took off down the trail the same direction the mom went. Well, that ain't a very good mom. She was supposed to fight you to the death to save her cubs. They move at night. Oh. Well, I'm glad you were safe. I'm glad she didn't attack you, obviously. But that's kind of funny. Well, let's see. I should probably get off here so I can finish eating breakfast and work on my roof. But things are good. I'm glad to finally be out here. I'm really looking forward to getting settled in a little bit more, and then I can start focusing on projects. My life's kind of been on hold these last month and a half, waiting to get moved, and then my truck wasn't running. That held me up for about 2 or 3 weeks, and so now that I'm moved, I can get my roof built, and that's the main thing I need to do in order to get things settled. Yeah, that cabin rolling down the road. Yeah, people were staring, especially like the first. Okay, so I made a first attempt and I broke down, and and I left the stovepipe sticking out, so I really looked like the Beverly Hillbillies. And in fact, I didn't even put out the stove. I closed the door, so I kept wondering if I was gonna be driving along and see a huge billowing smoke. But anyway, I broke down not too far from my house, and look, Maddie needs in. Poor girl. Oh, she's getting old. She can't get in because I removed the step. So anyway, I broke down not too far from home, but further than I wanted to walk for sure. And not a lot of point. Well, I guess if I walked, I could have got the jack. Anyway, I contacted a friend, a neighbor, and he came out and got me going. So I was able to tow back home. It was pretty late in the evening anyway. Yesterday morning, I went out and he fixed my truck for me. And so that way I was able to tow it out again yesterday. But yesterday I took down the stovepipe. But yeah, I got a lot of stares, people staring at me, and uh, and uh, and then when I came out here about a week ago, I hauled all my fencing out here because I want to put up the fence and then bring the horses. So I brought a load of fencing with the horse trailer, loaded it up, and I almost got stuck. Well, I did get stuck. I couldn't drive forward anymore because I just put it in a low gear and putts along out here. Anyways, I realized I started sinking in the mud. So fortunately, I was able to back up, and then I got as much speed as I could and got through that. And then it didn't rain much, hardly any rain by the time I brought this out, so that gave the mud some time to dry out a little. But I didn't know what I'd run into when I got here. And but anyway, fortunately, I got here no problem. And I set up in this new spot. Last time that I was here, I set it up there where it's more exposed. And so down here, I'm a little more protected by the wind from my cabin. Like when I was in my cabin living in there, I never felt wind because it's kind of tucked away. And so probably won't have a lot of wind this year, but I still got a view. So that's what's important to me. Kind of be blocked by the wind, but still have lots of view because, as I always say, I get claustrophobic when I can't see very far. Um, uh, yeah, anyway. Uh, Daryl says I need to move back in a teepee so he can see how they lived in the 1700s. Yeah. Well, I put out a couple of teepee videos. One of them got a lot of views, so that's all you get. I don't know if I'll live in a teepee again. I might sell all. I've got 3 teepees. I might sell them all this year if they're if they're if they're good enough to sell. Brad looked it up. He said mama bears will run sooner than fight. Huh. So they can still take care of their babies. Yeah, that's how they. Well, I ran so I could take care of my baby. Well, you left your. Yeah, she probably thought they're. I don't know how much rationale a bear is capable of. She might have thought that she had them with her. Movie script. The movie script is pretty much set. I'll probably still tweak it just slightly as production time comes up. But now that I've moved, what I've been really looking forward to doing is doing some practice shots and taking some video. So now that I'm moved, I can finally do that. Hopefully my horse starts feeling better so I can ride her and get some shots riding her. If not, I'll just get video of me, I guess, or even walking the horses. Yeah. There have been black bear attacks though. People have been attacked by them. I know that mostly they run off, but which is fortunate. So anyway, that's the news, folks. A little bit of sunshine. Hopefully the rain holds off. All right. Well, I'm going to call it quits now. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the views. Glad you guys are here. And until next week, get outside and enjoy the earth that society tries to take you away from. I think I just felt a raindrop. Uh-oh. All right, folks. That's it. Remember, life's a lot more fun over on the wild side.